Welcome back. We are live at Penn GSE's Innovation Summit, and I have the pleasure of meeting with Rowana Miller, the founder and executive director of Cosmic Writers.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining me. I'd love to first start by having you address the audience and tell us, how are you serving students in classrooms?
Thank you so much for asking. Cosmic Writers is a creative writing education nonprofit. We operate according with two different branches. We have one that is directly student-facing, and we teach workshops both online and in person in New York and Philadelphia in a variety of different forms. We have some camps, we have some field trips, we have some one-on-one mentorships, where the idea is to support students at all stages of their writing journeys, with a focus on students in grades 3 through 8.
Okay.
And then we also have an educator support branch where we work with teachers and librarians and out-of-school time educators to help them to bring creative writing into their classrooms, and I say classrooms broadly, to help them accomplish whatever their goals are, whether those are arts goals or social emotional goals or literacy goals.
Creative writing in 2025 feels like a heck of a time to
Yes.
be putting this into the hands of students. You know where I'm going with this. What challenges has Cosmic Writers faced, or maybe just education more when we zoom out with AI?
Yes. So ChatGPT was released about 6 months after Cosmic Writers launched as an independent nonprofit.
Wow.
And at that time, I got a big influx of people, including some of those who were initially most excited about our work, saying, do we still really need this? And at first I did get a little bit worried, but pretty quickly I realized that no, actually, we need this more than ever.
Yeah. Because
AI is really good for content. I use AI for content-driven purposes all the time. I'm never writing another press release from scratch.
There we go.
This is fine.
Yeah.
But the thing that AI can't do is take the unique ideas that are going on inside your head and express it in ways that can galvanize other people.
Right.
And so creative writing is the tool for helping kids to learn how to develop their voices and articulate their ideas. It's the thinking part of writing. It takes a lot of that content-driven stuff, which I think is often more present on the expository side of writing, and it pushes it out of the way. And it focuses in solely on the original thought that you need in order to be a strong writer and communicator. And so after that initial wave of, I don't know about this, we actually have, I think, won over those people and have continued to win over educators and community members the more ChatGPT and other generative AI becomes ubiquitous in classrooms.
When we get into your story a little bit, why creative writing for you?
So I personally have always been a very serious writer. When I was 6 years old, I set the goal of publishing a novel by the time that I graduated from high school.
Wow.
I did not do that. But by the time I graduated from high school, I had drafted 2 novels.
Nice.
And I will, this fall, actually, October 7th, my debut novel will be coming out.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So this is a writing journey that is going to be 13 years in the making from when I started drafting my first book when I was in 7th grade.
Yeah.
And so this is to say that this is really core to who I am.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, I was very lucky that I went to a wonderful New York City public school where there were teachers who encouraged me to pursue my love of writing. I also have a mother who is a creative director and a grandmother who is a now retired high school English teacher who taught creative writing. Oh. And so I got a lot of encouragement and resources at home in order to develop those skills. But I was also cognizant that it was kind of hit or miss from year to year of school. I had different teachers who prioritized creative writing more or less. And it was it wasn't until I got to college that I had a consistent writing community and consistent writing mentors. And that was the environment in which I drafted the novel that is now going to be published. And the reason why is because I had those resources. And there's really no reason why kids should have to wait until college And in my case, I was very lucky. I went to a college with a strong creative writing program. I went to Penn. You should not have to be in a very specific subset of colleges that really prioritize creative writing education in order to get that kind of experience. And so that was what primed me to start Cosmic Writers, but it wasn't the catalyst for the organization in and of itself.
Wow. No, that's really special. So you come from a line of storytellers,
Yes.
It sounds like.
Yes.
How do you use story to persuade feels a little too strong, to open the eyes of students to what creative writing might be able to, how it can impact them?
Kids have pretty much no agency.
Mm.
In every facet of a kid's life, they're being told what to do. But story is one of very few vehicles through which kids have total agency.
Mm.
Even so, a lot of the time, what I have found is that kids are not even told that it's an option for them to write stories. They consume stories all the time.
Yeah.
They get excited about books and movies and video games and TV shows and role-playing games and all of these different forms of media where story is a core component. But a lot of the time, A, no one tells them that someone has to write those things.
Right.
And B, a lot of the time, kids don't realize that a lot of those types of media count as writing. We get a lot of kids who are avid D&D players and who have developed these extraordinary worlds and characters who say, oh, I'm not a writer, but who have come to our fantasy writing workshop in order to flesh out their D&D campaigns.
That's cool.
Got some news for you.
Yeah.
You are,
That's
in fact, a
storytelling.
writer. Yeah, exactly. And so I think that Cosmic Writers, our mission is specifically centered around using creative writing as a tool for helping students to boost their literacy.
Mhm.
But more generally, I think that the reason why creative writing is so powerful is that it really creates a much more expansive definition of what writing is and what a writer can be and look like,
Yeah.
which allows the communication and literacy skills to become a lot more accessible and exciting for kids.
So is it fair to say your thesis is we shouldn't be dictating entirely to students what they, how to use writing, but let them create their own worlds. Let them
Yes.
tell their own stories.
Absolutely.
And we're going to achieve the achievement goals that are set forth by the state or whatever have you. Is that
1,000,000%.
okay? What I'm curious about the milestones that you've had thus far with Cosmic Writers. You mentioned that big one. So 6 months after launch, you have probably the most disruptive technology of potentially our lifetime, at least at this point, hit the market. You're able to combat that. What led up to the moment of Cosmic Writers being launched? Was there really a jumping off point where you're like, no, I'm planting my flag and it's time to do this thing?
Yes, there was a very, very distinct starting point.
Tell me more.
And that was the other enormous disruptive event in our lifetimes, and that was COVID.
Oh, yeah, that thing.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one. Yeah.
So in the spring of 2020,
Mm-hmm.
I was a sophomore in college,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the institutions at Penn is called the Kelly Writers House.
Okay.
It is a hub for creative writing, both on Penn's campus and in the greater Philadelphia area. I was a work study student there, and pretty soon after we all got sent home for lockdown, I applied for a small grant to run a virtual creative writing camp out of the Writers House in order to provide something engaging and social for kids during the summer of 2020 that would really make sense to do from their computers. And so at the time, I thought this was a pandemic project. I thought it was a response to a very specific need that happened to harness my interests and background for good.
Sure.
And the Writers House awarded me that grant. It was $3,000. And when we opened registration, we got 150 signups on the first day.
Goodness.
Yeah, it was a huge day.
Wow.
And of course, a lot of that was due to the urgency of the time. But what struck me was that parents and teachers kept telling me, this is the first time that my kid has ever had access to creative writing education. And the first thing I thought was, that's absurd.
Yeah.
And the second thing I thought was, okay, yeah, that really tracks with my experience growing up. And so I started to do some more research into the state of creative writing education in the US. And I learned that kids typically had access to creative writing through one of three channels. Number one, if their teachers happened to prioritize it the way that some of mine did, which is super hit or miss because even though there are some state standards that are tied to narrative, they're not the ones that are really emphasized on state tests.
Right.
And so there isn't a lot of accountability. And so there's just a lot of pressure to really teach the expository standards.
Okay.
Number two, there are some really wonderful brick and mortar creative writing education nonprofits throughout the country. And I would say that there are about 3 or 4 of these hubs per major city. But if you don't live within easy transportation distance to one of these hubs, or if you don't live in a city at all, then that's not really an option for you.
Yeah.
Or number 3, if your family has the wealth to hire a private tutor. And so who does that leave out? 2/3 of kids, as it turns out. So that was when I started to think, okay, this is a larger problem than can be solved by a virtual creative writing camp. Now, we still run the camp. The Writers' House was very supportive in Cosmic Writers becoming an independent entity and taking the camp with us. We will have the 6th summer of WordCamp starting in about a month. Thank you.
Wow.
It's really great that it's hung on like this.
Yeah.
Because there's still a demand for virtual creative writing education because kids still don't have access to it in other ways. And so even though we're not constrained by quarantine anymore, kids are constrained by being, for example, the only kid in their school or their town who really loves creative writing.
Right.
And so that kid comes to WordCamp and finds a writing community. But we are not just WordCamp anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a lot of experimentation with the different ways in which it makes most sense to get creative writing in front of kids before settling on that thesis of creative writing as tool for literacy building, which is far and away the best way we found to make sure that creative writing occupies a clear place in kids' lives and where it can make the most transformative change. And so that's the short version of why we are where we are today.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. As we start to round out our conversation, I'd love to learn what impact are you looking to create?
I would really like to change the culture around the way that kids learn to write in the US. I think that there is a fundamental belief right now, for whatever reason, that writing is no fun. And that writing is the thing you have to get your grit your teeth and get through before you can move on to the other types of the educational experience that are inherently cooler and more engaging. But there's just no reason why it has to be like that. And what I would like is for kids to not see writing and fun in separate categories. The same way that a subject like robotics has become integrated into STEM education in order to get kids having fun throughout the process of learning everything they need to learn and more. I would like creative writing to be able to play a similar role in the way that kids learn to write.
Wow. So really changing the paradigm around it.
Yes.
That's incredible. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with me. Where should people go to learn more about the work that you're doing with Cosmic Writers?
Thank you so much for asking.
Yeah.
Our website is cosmicwriters.org. You can follow us on Instagram at Cosmic Writers. We're a little bit on TikTok as well.
There we go.
Working on that.
There we go.
And I always love talking to people about writing. And so if you are watching this and you want to chat about anything at all in the writing education space, please reach out to me directly at rmiller@cosmicwriters.org.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.